Welcome, Arno. You're quick again. Let me announce it to the group. Welcome as well, Raisi. Good new week. Let's see what seemed like we had a more or less like a Model 2 accumulation on the oil. It seems. In which the technical target would then be the range high at least. Here. Let's see, I will look at it later. But we have some demand left behind, so maybe if we get a slow pullback into this demand, you can look to play the Model 2 continuation into the ice. It's just my first site. Welcome everyone. Good to see you guys again. Westervries, Kijels, Matt, Fucci, Slatan. The whole gang is here again. Good to see. And Astali, father is there as well. Hope you're doing good, everyone. FOMO is real. The FOMO for what? For the long or the short? It's looking it can literally go both ways here. We have kind of like a 4 tab, 1, 2, 3, 4, which can be the deviation before moving down. I hit the long and I was looking for like a short, but it's a bit sketchy. There's not really a market structure confirmation. So I'm interested in watching it, but the PT long. Yeah. Yeah, I will go over the one. I was looking at the 5-minute supply, why it is not valid in my opinion, but it's a bit hard one. But normally, like this is super clean supply, right? We have one candle, second candle down, third candle, big difference between your first and third candle. And for me, a rule of thumb is like supply, it should be obvious. If it's not obvious and you need to really look into it, then you are gonna search for something. It should be obvious because good supply has displacement. So right here, if we look at the candle 1, the deep wick, like there's a super tiny distance between it, but because the lowest wick and this wick, I would not call it valid supply. And if I put on the indicator, it also doesn't count it as supply. So I think it has to do with like the wicks. But for me, it was more because first at the 5-minute, we had this as clear structure, or at least here with clean low buy low. So this was basically the market structure. But then on the 3-minute afterwards, we got this pull higher up while price was in this demand. So here we had basically high, higher low, higher high. Anywhere here should be the higher low. And then the continuation. So what I was looking at was like, if we're gonna continue, then price should bounce from this demand to keep that higher high, higher low intact. And if we look at the from this low to this high, and you look at the fib levels, then this is like the lowest price can go, like 786, 72, because that is like your higher, your deep higher low. But if it goes much lower, then it often is just a fill of your trend. So if you then have the weak London high, which we had at that point, you have your range high demand. So range high is always an important level. You have your market structure into the level, and then here it should be clean how your structure is. So here this is like lower low, lower high, lower low, clean structure, with then here your break on this point. So at this point we have bullish market structure, range high, retest, this demand, retest, with an internal break of structure, while having a weak London high, which was, what was it? At hour 8. So then we know that oftentimes later in the day, price likes to take it out into a stronger hour to then reverse. So after this bulls, I entered around here, stop below your market structure low, and my target was new highs, and then preferably the VWAP. But I had my main TP like literally a few dollar above it, I believe. So when I saw that the VWAP was tapped, and on the 1 minute saw rejection here, I eventually closed it here for like 2.8, which is super nice to start the day. But this is a trade we have taken more lately, where we have the confluence of a weak London high or low, and then we know for price, if we gonna reverse, it's unlikely that this is already the high. So then waiting for at least a sweep of that level, which was here or here, then yeah, pretty clean confluence to use for your market structure, demand, just the usual stuff, and then with the confluence of the statistics. So good way to start the week. And now I'm in between two camps basically. This was our weekend range, range low, range high. And then we had the compression with these lower highs. So this is liquidity being built up. And here we basically had the higher lows. So yesterday I also posted we are compressing, and I shared a few of the order flow where you saw that liquidity was above and below the range, which is almost always the case, but it's funny to showcase it in that way. And then during yesterday evening, price went down, take out all the sell side liquidity below it, and then a direct move back up to the buy side liquidity. So now both liquidity points have been taken, and now price is tapping into this supply, which is basically our structure as well, because we have low, this is the significant pullback, and then low. And here we broke it locally bullish, but main structure can just be a lower high here for a lower low. So this supply is interesting to watch, also with the anchored VWAPs. And because we have like 1, 2, more or less like a 3 drive, it's either going to be the tap here and then down, and then here potentially accepting back in the range, in which this is our deviation, and then get a move back to the lows. Or this is because this is also structure, low, lower high, lower low, SFP. So our mark structure high was the weak targeted high. And then if price can stay above here, then this is technically an internal bullish break, in which you can either look for a deeper mitigation there, or for the higher low for a higher high. So there are quite a lot of possibilities in this area, what to expect. And that is also where a lot of people are going to position themselves, because they are scared to miss out. But my opinion, best is to just wait for clean signals, which will be, if you look at our market structure, basically have high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So this is our market structure low in combination with the range high level and also the demand here. So breaking back below there, that would already give us a pretty high chance that this was a deviation before accepting lower. And if that is on Monday, we know that Monday pivots are really strong. So we have then potentially here, we can also make a new drive. But what happens here is super important. Because if it this high is put in today, then it's during a pretty strong hour, which is 13. And if we then accept back under the range, then we have a local bearish break of structure, accept us back in the range. And this is also like more of a squeeze higher than it's a super strong demand. So then it could be a pretty quick rotation back to the start. And we have our weekly low right here. So the low that we made yesterday, where quite a lot of shorts entered, but it's a weekend low, which is always a bit doubtful. Weekend lows and weekend highs, sooner or later, the market likes to take that out. So if this happened during Monday or the start of Monday, then it would be a much stronger low compared to now. Now it's a weekend low. So that makes it a bit hard. So the few options are that this is a range high deviation in the making, except it's back in the range, lower high, and then potentially a range rotation all the way lower. Or if price can hold above here, look for a high low for a higher high. So that are a few options, which could play out. The only question, as always, is how can we position ourselves? The highest time frame that we have structure on is 3 hour. So we have here basically low, lower high, lower low, an SFP, and then we went back to the market structure high. So a 3 hour candle body close above this level technically is also a bullish break. However, we have anchored VWAPs with a lot of supply here. So it's truly a bit of a hard view here. Let's watch the chat. Hello, for missing out on the Beats Saludos. I was also watching Beats USD. Oh yeah. Yeah, I also used to watch USD, but not doing it anymore. And I have literally not had any problems with it. It's, in my opinion, better. Because I also like to use like the volumes a lot more. To draw my volumes from here. And also on the VWAPs. So VWAP also uses the volume for the calculation. And if you watch the volume here, this is much more healthy than looking at the ETC USD.perp. If you look at the volumes here, it's much lower in general. So then you also get different VWAP pools and different volume profiles. And since I use them quite a lot, I like to use just USDT because it has better volumes. Good tip on supply and demand. Thanks. I think I've been too pedantic about it. Should think more obvious, clear. Yeah, like with supply, or it should be clear. And just like market structure. Like if it's clear, the market structure you should see in one eye that this is your structure. If you're gonna search for your structure, so looking here like is there a structure in here? is there structure in this move and stuff, then oftentimes it's not valid. So then you can just better watch for what is the valid structure. If that springs out, then it's good structure to use. If you're gonna zoom in and search for the tiniest 2 candles going down, then it's not valid. It should be obvious. And with demand and supply, it's basically the same. If it's a super tiny zone like this sell candle, and I'm gonna search now, is there an imbalance between them? Yeah, like then there is a imbalance right here, very tiny. But is this then the valid demand to look at, or the demand below? Like here you have sell, clean buy, showing a lot of strength, and here it's more like technically it's valid, but should we expect a big reaction from this zone or from this zone? Then I would say this is your level to watch instead of that one where you're gonna search for it. However, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna position myself right now on the short side. For longs, I'm potentially also interested, but only if we get back in the range. And then we always have to be careful because technically if we accept back in the range right here, then we have a bullish break because this local uptrend then breaks to bearish. And we also accept back in the range, which could be a deviation before lower. So I am looking for potential longs. However, the triggers then need to be super clean. Because this also could just very quickly rotate back down. And that's what we have seen past weeks pretty commonly, is that we on Monday, just like here, strong push, and then eventually retrace the whole move. Just as here was also on Monday a strong push up before retracing it. So yeah, this move can be, it is pretty suspicious. Bojan 4 hour. Yeah, so that looks pretty topish. And also I think this goes down, but for me the question is always, what is my clean invalidation? Well, now, like, I don't fully trust the... What's also pretty weird, which I just see, is like the anchored VWAP changes when I zoom out. Like right now it's here. If I go to the hourly, it's above. When I go to the 6 hour, it's there. That's... Maybe it calculates it on what is visible. Could that... No. Weird. Okay, let's have a look at the stats. So I took the long, basically because we had a horrible daily high. And right now we can see for the session, we have bearish session stats. So that's like the other way around, in which now the we have the high right there, the low right here. So this is a pretty strong session high. And let's see on the daily. Yeah, the daily is still a strong low. Let's see. So here, if you look at what is the structure, then I will just see like On a low time frame, you can find structure, but the obvious one is this. And then also with supply in your bearish market structure. So that's always a nice confluence. They could even watch for a move into this level for scalp shorts, but it's at the range high, so I'm not really interested in it. But always with these moves, because this could potentially be the high, then if you get a move into it with structure, then a break, then you could take scalp shorts here, stop above that high or just above that supply, and then ride it lower back into your range. It's the only thing I see right now, because we don't have much levels above. But yeah, it's always like this trade this morning was pretty obvious to me. And right now you can probably already hear that I'm searching for trades, and then often that are the lower probability plays. So then I just rather wait for something clean. The pivot high is still a London high. No. Right now we have the highs during hour 13, which is New York. Let's see. Yeah, it's a New York high. So from 12 UTC, London stops and New York basically starts. So that squeeze here was also still a London pivot. And then the squeeze later, this was the New York sweep. So now we have pretty strong New York high, but also a strong New York Asia low. So a bit in between. Let's look at gold, because last week we pre-planned some longs, which the idea was super nice, but yeah, the timing of it was bad. We had here this buy side liquidity trail, so all these lower highs. Then we basically I skipped this first part just because we know that we can take that high. So here we have the local downtrend, which broke back to bullish right here. And at that point, we knew this is potentially range, break, mitigate, continue, the RIMC. So I mapped out some levels inside this box where we could expect a bounce from. And this was the cleanest demand. Let's see. Yeah, so this was the 1 hour OBIM. So sell to buy, super strong candle. And price came back into that level before breaking higher. So deep mitigation, but now basically continuation of this local uptrend. So we still have, let's see. Yeah, we took a good part of this liquidity trail, so that's a bit less ideal. Like this morning I shared some long, I was interested in a long, as long as we did not take out this high. Because then we have a reason to go for this high and a reason to still take all this liquidity. But since we now already took more of the buy side liquidity, the magnet, so the reason for price to come higher is a little bit less ideal. But we can still watch. Like here, price is now creating supply on the move down. So an alert there. But this is still a pretty good break. So if you look at the break, then you can see on the hourly we have candle above. And also on the 3 hour, like on the 4 hour, it's a nasty wick, by the way. But it's not valid on the 4 hour. So we have the highest time frame this local uptrend is valid is on the 3 hour with these or selling candles. And on the 3 hour, we have a pretty clean break. So it could still give a higher low for a higher high. Let's see. DTC almost breaking back. So then I always map out like what are the levels we have lower. And here we have demand and we have demand lower. So this is 15-minute demand and this is hourly demand. And then you want to enter in discount, not in premium. So if you want to long, you preferably can draw your fibs from low to high. And then like you can put on your 5. So under the 5, you can long. Above it, it's, yeah, you are basically longing premium. That's not what you want. So this first demand is slightly below the 0.5. So if you get like some good structure into this low and then a market structure confirmation, then it could be the first long. But the higher probability is the lower you go. So I have an alert in this first demand for potential longs, an alert in this supply for potential shorts, and I'm watching like lower. This is a very deep retrace though, so not too good. And you can also watch it from a range, because we are, let's see, we are trending up. So this could be our range high, range low, swing high, swing low. And this is a potential deviation. This demand, I don't really like, it's too deep. But we can keep it there. Let's erase this. So then this is our swing high, swing low. This is potential deviation. So then it can also be a range play, where we maybe from here bounce, come back to the range high, and then have a 1, 2, 3 model 2 distribution. But again, a lot of ways how it can play out. So just putting some alerts and watching the reactions. Right now I don't see anything. And to know, is this a deviation or a bullish break, you can also watch from the deviation threshold. Like, did we broke above the deviation threshold or not? No. So this could be seen as a valid step 2, because we came above the range, broke back in it. So now this is technically a valid deviation. And then most important structure from the low up is high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So your upwards structure is this. So breaking below that structure, which is 15 minutes, if you break below here, then technically you confirm your deviation in which the lower high for lower low is most likely. For now we wick it. So if it can stay above, then the chances increase again that you get a rotation to your high. So let's see if it stays above or not. But pretty interesting chart to work with. And then also always, is there a reason for price to go higher? Because it can also be a potential model 1 distribution where it might go for the highs again. And then is there a reason for price to make a model 1, so a 3 drive, instead of a model 2? And then we can look, yes, there's a reason, because we have still liquidity here. And it could also just be a trend continuation for the supply here. This is super clean supply. Which then could also even be a low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And that this is the new range to work with. I like this, by the way. Like main structure from the low up, we are in a high time frame downtrend. So it could also be that this is our low. This is now our high. Here we front run the mid range or we tap it to the dollar. But if you front run it with a little bit, then I would also still count it as a range. It could also be that this is our new range. Range low, range high. And then, for example, if this continues higher and we get the move here, then this could be the second tap that then taps into this high time frame supply. And then maybe get a full range rotation. So we're gonna keep an eye on gold coming week because there are a lot of different scenarios that can play out. Is BTC breaking to bearish? Yeah, so okay, so that's interesting. So it's breaking structure, and we have some supply on the 5-minute here. So we can look for potential shorts here. But also then yeah, it depends a lot on your trading style. I personally, only if I get super clean trigger in here, then I would maybe take a scalp short. But otherwise, like your clean, the invalidation to use, which is your safe invalidation here, is basically that session high. So then, like, if you expect a full rotation, then it's a 2.7R, which is still super nice. But I want to have tighter stops. Because if this just goes to here, which is my second long PY, then it's not really worth it. Let's look. If we look at structure, then we had a pretty strong move down, up, down. And this move does not look in comparison too well. So I think this might be the start of a new range or anything. Maybe like a higher low range. And then maybe continue. And compared to the overall price action, this looks a bit too short yet. So I think before this gives a full reversal, or it was like a really scam pump. If this already fully retraces, could also be the case. But then it's yeah, I have to see. Personally, not gonna short it. I was interested in a short after that exact tap, so that idea played out nicely. But let's see. Yeah, like oil looks like it's there's nothing holding price back from going to 112, 116. This is basically one big gap. And if you look at the volume profile right here, then price is above the value area high, which is here. And you see that there's no volume at all. So if price closes above the high there, it can be a really quick move higher into 112, 115. And it is even showing a local model 2 here. So We even have here low, high, low, high, low, break. So best case, it could even give an mitigation continuation. Then I would be interested in a long if we come back into this demand. To play this model 2, the price also breaking from here, left to right. So low, high. And then this is the 2 candle, so range demand. And the lower one is obviously cleanest if price wants to go back there. So let's see if this will be a long POI for me on oil. For gold, yeah, already explained, can be multiple scenarios. For now, SFPing the low, so could go back to the highs. BTC, yeah, looking sketchy. The way up is very sketchy. This could already be the tap into supply before continuing lower, but I don't really see an entry. That's worth it taking for me. And USDT, it is super clean, just like BTC. Like we know the market structure rules, hopefully by now, where you have swing high, swing low, SFP of your market structure high, which means that you get a rotation back most likely to your market structure low, and price did that. And right now it's a bit in between breaking the structure or putting in a second tap of the range. Because here it tapped into demand. If we look at the 50 minutes cleaner. So this is the range, then it broke below. We had this structure. Lower low into this demand. And now it's trying to break this local downtrend back to bullish. Which, if it does, it also breaks back in the range. And then technically, let's put an alert here. And technically this can be a range low deviation, and then you get the rotation back to your supply and potentially new highs. Just the opposite of BTC. So that's pretty interesting to observe. Where this supply is also pretty clean. But yeah, right now it seems like it's breaking back in the range, in which this can be just the range deviation, and then get the rotation back to your range high. And that could continue potentially the higher low, higher high. Can also make like a 1 to a new low before continuing this overall trend. So also here, pretty interesting, but not really a clean. That means that BTC is going lower. Yeah, so gold's looking good, excited to trade. Yeah, I'm willing to skip sleep to catch oil if it gives that mitigation. Yeah, the shitty stuff is that sometimes during Asia, a lot of stuff happens. Like cleanest outcome would be creating some sort of that's the funny thing, like this is how people, this is what I want to see, structure into that demand. But people can also say it's a bull flag, right? So bull flag with the breakout. But it's essentially the same. But then with this you get market structure confirmations, clean triggers. And with a bull flag, you never know how to treat a bull flag. Yeah, that would be clean. Longing it here towards new highs, and then potentially this could be a runner into 112 because there's nothing to hold it up, which can give crazy RR opportunities. So I'm gonna set another alert because you guys know my relationship with TradingView and alerts. So if we come into the level, share it in the Discord as well. And let's have a look quickly at the other pairs. Let's also watch what is the volume profile. It's now at the value area high level. If it breaks, oh, that was what I was gonna do. Just gonna watch MMT. So since the high CVD, perps are selling off, spot is also selling off. So there is some aggressive selling. Yeah, there's not much to hold price, except here's some demand. This supply. Okay, let's quickly check some other crypto pairs. Like ETH is the same situation as BTC, bit of an awkward range, but yeah, if it falls back, I don't like this range, so I'm gonna delete the range. But like on ETH, it's a bit more clear, which can be like lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And right now it's trying to attempt a break, although it looks a bit suspicious. But if this is the bullish break, then you could look for higher low, higher high, potentially. It can also be just as BTC, the deviation. So it's a bit unclear. Then I just wait till it becomes clear. So no clean bias on ETH. Hype slowly but surely coming to the range low with this sell side liquidity below it and this demand with a super clean imbalance. So clean demand creation and this kind of meme trend line. So super clean levels, but need some more time. And Tao is yeah, basically it was trending up super strongly. Right now it's losing some steam and going sideways. So this is an important low on the 2-hour market structure low. So keeping an eye on that level. And yeah, is this potential range to watch? But this was a deviation. Price back to the low. Yeah, I can watch this as a range potentially. But it has some supply above. This is then tap 1, tap 2. Can potentially watch this if it has confluence with a model 1 towards this market structure low. Maybe do some weak filling. If it then gives a model 1 with confirmation, potentially interested for longs. So alert. And Sol close to taking out the range low, but a bit in the middle of nowhere. BTC currently bouncing from very high. I know you don't look at silver, but just something interesting to point out. Unlike XAU, it hasn't even started taking out its liquidity trail to the upside. I can have a look at XAU. Oh, I was looking wrong. This is not like internal market structure here is 15 minutes, but that basically already broke to bear. Oh, no, not. We did not make a new high. So then this is the low indeed. Silver is XAC, I believe. Yeah, that's a super nice liquidity trail, basically from here. It's also building some sell side liquidity. Interesting chart. With some demand, at least 45 demand right there. Potential range. Mitigated demand here. Yeah, like this is pretty clean SFP of your high. So then you can also watch for a lower high for a rotation back to your market structure low. If you purely look at market structure from this low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low. It's a bit deep one, but still in high low. And then here you SFP, your market structure high, which technically means that the rotation to your low, or at least your low is now a weak targeted low. So from a market structure view, this could be retested. There's super nice liquidity above as well, indeed. And here's some demand. Might want to keep an eye on this one. It's not looking too bad. We just put an alert above, alert here, an alert here. Probably will miss them all, but if one of them, keep me up to date. Okay, I think for now, nothing else to do beside to wait for some more price action. Few POIs on gold, so I think this can give us some clean trades, but needs to develop a bit more. Oil, if it follows plan and gives like low, lower high, low, low, lower high into this demand, super interested in longs. And like the perfect place is to get into that lower demand zone, which aligns with the fib levels. So that will be super clean. BTC, an awkward spot. It can be the weekly high here. It can also be a higher low or a higher high soon. So yeah, if it's not clear, just wait till it becomes clear. Eventually it will. And then you want to shoot. So personally, just waiting for some more price action. Give super clean confirmations inside this supply, potential shorts. The same into this demand, potential longs. Can also go here before higher. Could also now just take liquidity and push higher and then maybe start a new range. So a lot of different outcomes. And at this point, I have no idea. I can see this be the weekly high. I can also see it push further. So that basically means I have no clean bias. So then just a matter of patience and waiting for till it becomes clear. I think I'm going to keep an eye on XAC this week for sure. Yeah, sure. Keep me up to date if it stays interesting, because I'm 100% sure I will lose sight of it. Okay, USDT. This is a former range low. It tried to break above. It's failing. So that's interesting to watch how it will behave. Bouncing pretty strongly. Yeah, so for me, just waiting. And then the obvious trades will come again. Just like this morning was a pretty clean one. Such one will appear again. And then we can benefit of it again. Same as for gold and oil. So thanks for watching, everyone. A lot of people were watching again, I can see. So it's great to see. And then it's only Monday, so often on Monday I'm taking it very slow. And then late in the week it becomes more clear. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So new trades will definitely come later. And yeah, personally, already nice win. So just gonna wait till it becomes clear and then take new trades. So thanks everyone, and see you guys in the Discord and tomorrow again. Cheers.